Hey guys, it's Ox here and welcome back to my channel. I am finally back with a new keyboard review and it's my first time reviewing a keyboard from this vendor. We have yet another budget pre-built 75%. Today, let's take a look and listen at the new MoonShadow V2 by KiiBOOM. A quick disclaimer before the video starts that the board was sent over by KiiBOOM for a review, but I wasn't paid to make the video, and of course, I give you guys my honest and unbiased opinion about the board. I'll also place my affiliate link down below if ever you are keen on getting the MoonShadow and to also help out the channel. So what is the MoonShadow V2? Well, this is KiiBOOM's follow-up on their first MoonShadow 81, which was also a 75% but only offered on bare bones. Now with the V2, the board is now cheaper and offered as a pre-built with some updates on the look and features, which we're gonna take a look in a bit. Now the MoonShadow V2, it's a full aluminum, pre-built, gasket mounted, tri-mode PCB with a ball catch structure, and get this, it's QMK and Vega compatible. For the pricing, it starts at $159.99, but with the current CNY sale, it's now listed at $143.99. Tax and shipping is not included. Let's go ahead and unbox the board. Opening it up, we are greeted with the manual. Now, I am impressed with the quality on their manual, and as always, I highly suggest to go read the manual as it will help you set up the board faster. On the side, we have the usual USB cable, and we have an attachment piece for the dongle, which is a nice implementation so you won't lose the dongle. We have the switch and keycap puller and some extra switches and keycaps. So they also included an extra non-flex cut PC plate. Now I am not sure if this is included or is this an extra, but the default plate that you'll have is a flex cut FR4. Let's take a closer look at the board itself. I specifically asked for the pink colorway. Now they also have this on black and silver, which are both anodized finish, while the pink one is using the electrophoretic finish. Now speaking of the finishing, let's take a look at the quality on the finish on the board. So it has that matte texture finish, and looking at it, it has that very smooth finishing. I didn't notice any blemishes and graininess to it, and honestly, I was already expecting this considering this is an above $100 pre-built keyboard, so it didn't disappoint in my opinion. Personally, I am not a fan of matte finish boards, but in my opinion, the finishing treatment on this is as good as it gets. Now onto the design aspect, I am glad that KiiBOOM decided to change how the MoonShadow V2 looks, as the V1 has that very loud, exploded 75% layout, has a thick bezels, and a badge on the top. As for the V2, they kept it very subtle. It's now a non-exploded 75. They also refined the bezels by giving it a very slick and thin look, and almost has that lip bottom, which is a very nice touch. They also removed the badge, but now they added a volume. Now, personally, I would love it if they didn't add the knob, but hey, I guess knobs are still a thing for 75%. Now flipping the board over, there's nothing really fancy or over the top. They kept the design from the V1 with that very large KiiBOOM engravement at the center. At the top of the board, it's where you'll find the toggle switch for the tri-mode option and the Windows or Mac option. For the updated feature, the MoonShadow V2 now has the bowl cut structure, and this was really an upgrade from the V1, as nowadays a lot of budget keyboard has this, and it's one of the key features that everyone is looking for. It lets you rebuild the board easily and much faster. Now for the pre-built option, the switches are their own. It's called Flick switches. It's a linear switch with a 45 gram actuation and 50 gram bottom out force. Top and bottom is polycarbonate and LY for the stems. The switches are really smooth and has that very balanced typing feel. For the keycaps, it's a 5-side die-sub PBT cherry profile. It has a rough to smooth texture. Now the colors are vibrant on the keycap set, but I can say that this one can be improved because I don't like how the legends look. In my opinion, they're too bold and the placements are kind of off. Some are crooked and some are far off to the left, especially on the alphas. It's good, but it could have been better. And I think that's about it for the MoonShadow V2, pretty much a straightforward 75%. Let's now hear what the board sounds like. Now I'll be using the stock switches and we'll be comparing it with the case foam versus no case foam, and throw in a different linear and a tactile switch for a bit of a sound comparison. Now please do remember that the sound and experience, it will always vary depending on how you'll build your keyboard. So please do enjoy the sound test on the MoonShadow V2 by KiiBOOM. That was the sound test on the MoonShadow V2. Please let me know and what you think about them on the comment section down below. Let's have some quick discussions. And also, thank you for staying if you made it up to this point of the video. Let's now talk about my full overall thoughts and opinion on the MoonShadow V2. Overall, for its price point, the board is really packed with features that you really need on a keyboard nowadays. Has a good pre-built switches. Now, as mentioned, the keycaps can be improved. Now, the bulk hatch structure for the quick assembly, the volume knob still has its niche, and of course, the tri-mode option, and not to mention, the keyboard is already QMK and Vega ready, which is a closer when it comes to buying a pre-built board, as we know how important it is to remap the board based on what you need. Now, the feel of the board, it's what you'd expect on a gasket mount, has that soft and flexy typing feel. There's still a give to it, and the default FR4 plate gives it a more refined and better bottom out feel when typing. While the sound was also decent, but I can say it sounded really foamy with the case foam and sounded kind of bit fuller without the case foam, and I didn't also hear a pinging and hollowness while typing. I would say in terms of the sound and feel, there's really nothing mind-blowing or something you'd expect out of it. It feels and sounds decent, and that's it. Now, there's a lot of other budget keyboards out there with the lower price points, and I would only suggest this for beginners or someone who is already in the hobby and is looking for a good and decent 75%, or if you are upgrading from the MoonShadow V1, then you may want to consider this. I suggest to first boil down on what you need on a keyboard and always base it on your preference. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you all find the review on the MoonShadow V2 helpful. If you do, please don't forget to like the video, share if you want, and of course, subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Peace.